Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone doing today? Looks like I got the camera situation solved. Hope everybody survived the day and possibly made some money. See a lot of red on the board, lots of red. And by the way, if you're new here, we run multiple streams a day to try to help people navigate these markets. So if you are new here, please do consider subscribing, ring that bell, and hitting the like button. Longer term viewers and subscribers, please hit that like button and leave some more comments. Let's see who's here quickly. Then there is a lot to review. Hey, Dan Jet. Hey, Tesla Force, glad to hear you. Christoph. Hey, Mike and all, hard to see any short-term bounce with today's price action. We will get a short-term bounce again. We'll probably get another rip-your-face-off rally at some point. I don't have the buy signals yet. I don't have anything yet. And I think there is lower to come before we do get that nice little bounce. So just keep that in mind, but that's why we have to, in these kind of markets, you have to monitor the price action very, very regularly, because when the patterns do set up and you start getting those momentum bars to the upside, you have to be prepared to take care of it. W Browser, I read that gold and silver refineries were shut. Oh boy, I cannot speak today. I read that 6 gold and silver refineries were shut down over Russia. Anyone have any color on this? I do not. So if anybody else does, let me know. Hey, Kalani, great call on NOV this morning. Yeah, that was great. I did some analysis on that. Raj called that out last week. So this is why you should be tuning into every one of our live streams, even if you can't do it live. Lots of good information out there. Ahmet, hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad I have patience to keep me busy, as I would have done something stupid, just waiting for this distribution to complete to get in on a little bounce play. And hopefully we'll get a nice little setup we can review. I'll let you know if I see one. This intro makes me feel like we are the IMAX. Well, thanks again. Thanks to Ken for that. There's some fear in the market, lots of opportunities. There's a little fear, not to the point I want to see some fear, though. I want to see fear. There is no fear yet. When there is fear, the bottom is near. And I'm just not seeing it yet. In absolute and relative terms, the U.S. stock market continues to be so extremely overvalued. It can go a long way. And when I talk about bounce plays, even you could bounce for a month. But again, these bounce plays, until I get another major long-term buy signal, they're shortable events. Now, you have to be picky with your timing, and you have to wait, because they can go farther and faster than you think. But, I will trade the bigger picture, which the bigger picture is bearish long-term. Once I get a long-term buy signal, then it will be bullish again long-term. So that's it. But again, even with another drop, if we head to new lows, I will be expecting a bounce and then another rollover play. Hello, 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 Options 22. Hope you made some money today. Where's Bob? Well, today's Tuesday, right? I mean, today's Monday. So if today's Monday, Bob's generally on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So hey, Travis, how are you doing? Yes, thank you, Mike and Raj. Nov, you made some money in Nov. By the way, if anybody did make some money, wants to help out, support the channel, super chats and other donations are always welcome. Can you explain what I look for in a capitulation movement? I look for massive volume coming in, just massive selling pressure where the sentiment is like people are throwing in the towels. Like, yeah, this thing's gonna just keep going lower. It's gonna keep going, gonna keep going. And we're not there yet. There's still too many people. It's just a dip. It's still by the dip. You got a little elevated VIX, but nothing major yet. So we can go through that. And again, it's always helpful when you see stuff. Today is triple bottom on the SPY and NASDAQ. Yes, okay. All right, let me switch things over here. So you see still lots of red in the street. Economic calendar tomorrow. Balance of trade, exports and imports, 7:30 Central. This will be interesting, though. The NFIB business optimism index, even though it's a low priority because it's a secondary one. It'll be interesting to see where that is. And we have wholesale inventories, which is going to be moving but overall, you're still going to have this macro stuff with Ukraine and Russia trumping it. Fed watch still 94% of odds of that 25 basis point. That's baked in. I just like to see how that's going, though. You can see down here, and these are the futures, S&P futures down 3.18%, NASDAQ down just over 4%, Dow 2.5%, Russell 2.6%, crude holding up around 120 a barrel. Tesla down 4%. Well, and remember, I said watch that with Tesla. Remember, don't underestimate these, which I told you down below, first little level bearish 42.55 area, then really starting getting bearish. Well, the first level bearish was 42.84, then below 42.55. Why? Clear path move. Again, you should be able to already start incorporating this stuff. So I've had the harmonic projections here, which gave me 41.92. And if you look here, let me zoom in. Sorry for all the lines. I'm analyzing a bunch of stuff, though. 41.89 is that. So you have this little hitch on the 4 hour, again, 4 hour clear path. So then you go down time frames to help fine tune that. 1 hour, little hitch in here. So you have a couple targets in there to watch for on that 1 hour time frame. Let me scrunch it back up. And you see if we zoom across here to the past, let me just draw a temporary line there. And look at that. Harmonic and that little hitch in there, boom, right to their end of day. So next level's down. What do you think I'm targeting? Well, first we have to update some harmonics. We don't have a longer term pausing bar, so I'm just seeing where these go. But next little cluster I'm watching is the 12.5% retracement area, a harmonic, and this 41.56. So that comes at about 41.56 to 41.62. And you have about 41.66. So between 41.56 and 41.66, I can watch for potential bounce tomorrow. And if we get through there, we have the 41.41 area harmonic with this little hitch, and then it'd be to the lows. And you see here the next major harmonic is 41.27. So those are all your targets to downside. Do not ignore that. Now, I also have these purple lines, and I'll pull those off in a second, but those are from the run-up, the harmonic levels for the run-up. And you see here, this is the 62.5, and we've clearly closed below it. So now odds, again, there's no guarantee, but odds do favor a continued retest of this low area. So just wanted to cover that. That's how we put the odds in our favor. May the odds always be with you. Let's see. Where am I? SQQQ double bottom is valid. We'll take a look at that. People donate 1% of your today's loss. Well, a lot of people made some money today. I agree with you. I told you, but I didn't agree with you. What you told, it wasn't valid. It was not with my system, not with what I teach, Rich. It just because it rallied, it's, or because you asked QQQ inverse, that does not make it you can't use the targets on this because it did not qualify for a proper double. You can use a reversal move, okay, but it doesn't make it qualify for a double. Remember, our stuff is tested out really, really well, and that did not fit the parameters. Doesn't mean the market can't go in your direction. I've told everybody this along a lot. It just means you can't use the targets. It doesn't mean it's not a tradable event. There's a difference between using the appropriate targets and having a tradable event. For example, two bottoms that don't make a double bottom can be a tradable event. But at least we use different targets because the targets matter. On SPX, possible bounce to 62.5 if it closes at or above. On the SPX, On which time frame are you watching for on the SPX? Let me just clean this chart up. I have two. If it closes above, yeah, I mean, if we now close back above which little retracement, if we close, the most recent is this. So you start closing back above this key level, and that would be about 43.35 area. It's a potential bounce play. So you're always going to do the most recent swing to determine that. So right now it still favors the downside, but there are potential bounce plays. And by the way, this would not, even with a further sell-off, would not be a double bottom. We'll have to check that out on the futures. Let's just double check it because, again, for example, the second target goes through the move that started it. So you cannot use these targets. However, and I'll say again, Rich, if we get above this 44.18 price level, is it tradable to the long side? Definitely. All right, because a lot of people will trade it to the long side. What I'm saying is I can't use my double targets because they are not valid. The targets I would be using to the long side would be the harmonics, and then above this level into the clear path move and fine tune it with the shorter levels. Doesn't mean there can't be a play to the upside. Just remember that. Don't confuse something happening. Like the people say they'll spot, I see this all the time, especially with head and shoulders. Stuff that is not a head and shoulders pattern, or it's not a even remotely tradable head and shoulders pattern. People say, see, it was a head and shoulders because it went my direction. It went, but it wasn't. Because if you test out the probabilities, you just happen to catch one that was, but the probabilities don't line up with the pattern that you spotted. So there you go. All right, we went through this on downside. I want to go back to SPX, by the way, see where we're pulled back from these highs to this, because this is the lowest close, remember. Lowest close. Don't be fooled. This is where you also have to watch stuff, because remember, we had this major gap open and reversal, but this is the lowest close. This is the lowest close since 18th of June. And this exceeded the last lowest close. Remember, this is where a line chart is very helpful. A line chart, so you see, here's your closing basis. So this was the lowest since a close back in here. So the next major low close is back from the 18th of June. Maybe I misspoke. I was looking at the bar after, so it was probably the 19th of June, around this 41.68 area. Now I want to see from the close to close basis in the SPX, we're down about 12.4%. From the high, to the close, we're down about almost 13%. Let's take a look at that NDX and the index. From a close basis, this was the high close to this close. We're down 19.6%. So almost, I mean, with the stupid definition of a bear market, on a close-to-close basis, almost there. On a high-to-close basis, and I hate this definition of bear markets, because generally, by the time these things trigger, you start watching for the short-term bounce. Again, I think we have a long way to go downside overall, but this is where I will start watching for the bounce. See, 20.55%. So technically, from the all-time high in the NASDAQ to today's close, which you see the close on this green bar was up here. So the lowest close before there was about 19.4%. So this technically 20.5% bear market on a high to close basis. So we're in the NASDAQ, keep that in mind. let's get back here. NASDAQ also rolling down here. Let me see what comments were. Bought you and Chef Bob premium coffees with $500 black truffles. Well, thank you very much. Options 22. I went through that with the 62.5. Let me know if you have any more questions on it. I respect that. It's good to have principles. Well, that's the only way I know how to trade, because if you don't have rules to fall back on, especially in these kind of markets, you can get your face ripped off. And if you don't consistently have something to follow, then you're changing what you're doing all the time. And you can get away with it for a while, but long term, I don't see many people not have a systematic approach who do very well long term. Good point regarding the close on the SPX. So that's why I have rules. Okay, and it takes the emotion out. You've seen me do it all the time with gaps. I don't vary the rules. I don't vary the rules on the doubles. I might say this doesn't quite qualify. I'm going to watch these targets. I'll give you a reason, but I'm not. I always then fine tune the targets based off of something else. But when the rules fit, the rules fit. You got to trade the rules, right or wrong, because there are doubles that stop out. There are reversal patterns that stop out. There are percent B trades that stop out. Okay, you got to trade what works, though. And what happened to my other, boy, something happened with my charts. Yeah, that's weird. Oh, me happened to my charts. There we go. Okay, NASDAQ. Boy, I got to be smarter than the mouse. NASDAQ, same thing. From the most recent high to these key lows, I did the projections, little pause. It's 13,419. Then we traded at the end of the day down below this 13,303. Remember, we had this clear path in here. There's your 4 hour or your 1 hour clear path. Here was your 4 hour clear path. And we did start trading into a clear path from up below this 13,769. Just a little refresher for everybody. So below the 13,769 level. And this is on the 1 hour. So where do you fine tune it? Just showing you levels. Remember, look at that. Pausing point. Look how nicely that held up. We got through that. The next minor pausing point was here, which it just burned through. And then the next major pausing point isn't to down here. So, let me get rid of that line now. So that's why I'm still expecting lower price action. This is clearly below that 62.5 of this last run up. So we'll continue to watch for more pressure. Now, on a rally, this prior support ledge becomes resistance. And you see it is getting a little overdone. We might have a potential divergence, but now your resistance area, you just see something here. All right, your resistance area is going to be 13,550. 13,550 to about 13,584, 4 hour rotation zone. So that's my first area. If we do rally tomorrow, which again, quite possible, still favoring lower price action, but who knows what can come out overnight. And then my next rally area would be this prior support area becoming resistance with the 4 hour rotation zone. So I'd be targeting back at that 13,769, 13,770. So those are my two initial upside targets. My downside, besides the short term, 13,194, 13,124, and look at that, end of this clear path move and a harmonic. And then below that, I'd be targeting the lows, the most recent lows, 13,028 to about then the harmonic, 12,983. So that would be my next target area should the selling continue tomorrow. And again, do we have, does this, I just have to double check since this is now in double territory. And no. Again, if we get above this high, would it be a tradable event? Yeah, it'd be a really tradable event. Well, could I use the double targets? No, they make no sense. The second and third target are above the most recent high. So would I be trading this above here? Yes. But how would I be doing my targets? Well, my first target would be here because I got a harmonic cluster significant level. My next target would be the retracement harmonic, the projection harmonic, and the 50. Then above there, it would be the end of this little mini clear path. So those would be my targets, making this a tradable event, but not a double bottom according to our rules. Dow. Let me just double check this. I know it is below it, but I want to double check and see. Here's the 62.5, clearly below it. So this is also favoring lower price action still. Got below this significant level here, which was a 62.5 right in this area. We paused there and then heading lower into this clear path move. And again, we look for stopping points. And the next major 1 hour stopping point is all the way down. Oh boy. I'm just having a rough day today. Sorry about that, everyone. Not because of the market. It's just been one of those days. 32,500. Yet below 32,500, long-term trend line and all the support in here right around 32,300. I'm not even going to update this harmonic yet because we still have a cluster to 12.5% retracement and the 25% projection at 32,600. So I'm leaving that on the charts. On a rally, 4 hours, the best time frame to watch right now. You have this prior support level. Right now, I'm going to bump this down into here. Declining rotation zone, so I'd be watching about 33,000. Above there, I'd go to 33,150. Those would be my two targets to the upside on a rally. And then I'd watch for the top of the 4 hour rotation zone. Let's see, questions. Mike, based on how we close the day on the indices, we should see a continuation of the downside tomorrow, correct? What is the probability of continuation when we close on the day's lows? The probability when you have bars like this is a follow through. I think it's around in the 80% level to the downside, at least intraday on the downside. I'd have to look up. I did that stuff a long time ago, and that is a good question. And on a closing basis, it's somewhere above 60%, when you have a bar like this. We also have the close below the key retracement levels, so that favors with roughly 70-something% a retest of this low area. Why I'm saying, though, you don't just bet the house on that, especially in this kind of macro environment. Let's say you have at 2 a.m. Central Time, morning European time, it's announced that there's some magical ceasefire. What do you think's going to happen? You're going to get a rip your face off rally. And that's why nothing's 100%. So I like to caveat this because people, there's great probabilities to the downside, and that's the way I'm watching it to continue tomorrow. However, this is where I'll say, don't back up, don't bet the farm, don't mortgage all your properties and saying, I'm buying S&P puts with everything I have because there's 80-something% probability we're going lower, because there's also 20% probability something else could happen. So you always have to manage risk. I want everybody in this environment to manage risk first and let the rewards take care of themselves. There'll always be rewarding plays. You just don't want to take any kind of thing and bet everything on it, because I see too many people do that, especially they took some losses and now they're saying, I can get it all back. We're a bearish close. We have 70-something% or 80% probabilities we're going to be lower tomorrow. I'm going to do something insane, and then it's that 20% that goes the other way, and it goes the other way big, and then it's like, oh crap, I just took a massive loss. I don't want to see people doing that. There'll be so many opportunities coming up over the next year, both the long and the short side. It's crazy. Russell, next area I'm watching is here. We broke down out of this area. This is now heading into triple bottom territory, so that double never even triggered. And next area I'm watching is about 1927 to 1905 crude. Again, I think we're getting to a very toppy price action. Nearly the full gap fill today. Again, I had these levels on. Remember, I'll just recap it for people. And when it gets this close, especially, you see here, we got below that 62.5 right here. So I was targeting the gap fill. We got really close to this prior resistance becoming support area, and that was close enough for me. I'm not going to try to grab a couple extra cents to give up potentially dollars. So yeah, especially with a nice little reversal move, and the longer term is bullish on crude, thinking it's getting overdone, but again, not playing to the downside with shorts or options, playing it, we'll be watching for a reload on a lower pattern. And this kind of bar here, by the way, remember, you can do your analysis just on this bar level. Can everybody see this? So from the high or low to this bar, we're below the 50%, which down close below the 50%, that is a decently bearish bar, and we're technically, I did them the wrong way, so bear with me 1 second. We are, here we go. We are below the 62.5%. So I am going to still watch even on that level, because we have tested out on a bar by bar basis. It still favors this being a topping bar. Does it have to be the top? No. Given the macro situation, you know, something could happen with the Russia-Ukraine situation and crude could be at 150 tomorrow. That's why not shorting it, but I am starting to get more aggressively to watch for a pullback. A short-term pullback, not a long-term pullback. But you can do your analysis on individual bars. Let's see. Thank you, Mike. The last couple nights, rewatching the videos and implementing your harmonics and retracement has been a blessing. You are welcome, Amit. What do you see on the CAD USD commodity rally? Hasn't supported by CAD as much. Let's take a look. CAD. I always look at it with the. There we go. I mean, right now, this actually, you know, this is sort of interesting. You could see a continued run. It's right at that critical juncture, but you continue with the bullish move. You're into this clear path move, so you could easily see 129.5. I'd target 129.4. I like the 40s and the 80s as the digits behind the first two numbers. So that's where I like 129.40, 129.80. This is close enough to 129.40. But this is definitely playable to the upside still. And look at, I mean, longer term, this is definitely playable. Look at this. Your defining point's technically there. And I know, I know we're going to, but even to come up to here, that 129.40 level, then you get above there, it gets interesting. Because you're into this mini clear path here, and you got the flat 200. So that would be the next target on a continuation play. For longer term, I'd just keep a stop below this trend line if you're playing something longer term for a continuation bullish move in the USD CAD. By the way, dollar index is for the stuff I follow, we could be getting very close to a topping pattern. So I am going to start watching for a pullback in the dollar index, not necessarily tomorrow, but over the next little bit. Starting to watch, getting some topping signals in other things that I follow. What else we got to look at? Gold back above 200. Again, a little mini double, first, second targets hit, and then the reversal back up, now forming a triple top. So next continued, and this was not a shortable event too, because again, you had this major support becoming resistance in gold. I am super bullish on, but those targets are useful for adding on a short-term basis. Next area I'm watching though is about 2016 to 2018 are my next targets higher. Remember, triples slightly favor continued price action. Silver's been all over the place, but not stronger than gold. I'm still a long-term major silver bug. Copper, very strong reversal today. Looks like there might have been a liquidation event with a couple things. With this kind of price action coming up to the next harmonic and then reversing back down. Also, was anybody looking at nickel? Has anybody been watching nickel? Nickel is been going up huge. Just looking at on a couple different things. But nickel, look at this. Here you go. You want a price? This might have been a short liquidation event of some firm that was short, because that's absolutely an insane move today. I'm starting to see some potentially liquidation events from everything falling out. There's also talk that Russia might default on its credit default swaps and everything else. So there's longer term some ripple effect that can still flow through the banking sector. Keep that in mind too. We may see some longer term stuff. Remember, did anybody study long-term capital management? Does anybody remember that when they blew up in 1998? If not, do some research. Long-term capital management between the Asian crisis and the last Russian crisis that hit back in the late 90s. They blew up in 1998. Off highly leveraged bets. Some of the smartest guys supposedly in the room blew up that firm and did a lot of long-term damage there. I think we could have some ripple effects with some highly leveraged bets that will go wrong, including some default swaps and everything else that just won't get paid out. So the insurance against some of these bets won't get paid out. So we could see some long-term things in the banking sector and finance. That's why I'd be really careful. We looked at Citibank this morning. Okay, these are Citigroup. I still call it Citibank. This is, again, even on bounces. We saw little open down, volatile trading, but these things are nothing I want to be in right now. Back to the notes. Little pullback in the price. Let's take a look at that yield. I also wanted to point out the yield curve. Here's the yield. So coming back down, take this off, coming right down to the next harmonic, closing within this clear path. So we can easily see continued fall short-term in yields before they turn around again. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on for. Yield curve, the 10-2s, 10-year minus 2-year. Look at that. Look at this. Continued downside move. There's your recession indicator. So it's closing in more and more and more. Does it get there in a straight line? No. But, this is over the last few days. Look at this move in the 10-2s. So really keep an eye on this longer term. What else do we have? And I'll get back to some other questions. Wheat, still locked limit. Now, will this even retrace? Yeah, but would I be shorting this? Not in your life. I just watch for key pullback areas. But this is something that will pull back before resuming a bullish trend. And even if it pulls back to this channel line eventually, the breakout and the channel line, it's just that would be a longer term bullish event that I'll be watching for. Cryptos, Bitcoin. There's the Tether is starting to go nuts again, or I forget, was it Tether or something else? But it's starting to still hold. Keep in mind this 37,000 significant level. If we do get below there, then there's going to be a lot more pressure to the downside. What else do we want to look at? We want to look at the VIX. VIX again up move today, but overall in your macro pattern, yeah, you get these spike up moves, but we're nowhere near panic levels. And when I'm talking panic levels, I'm talking start getting above, up above 45 area, you start getting into panic territory, short-term panic territory. So we have a long way to run still up in the VIX. And you brought up, I think, Amit, you brought up capitulation moves. You start getting above 45 in the VIX, I will start watching for more of the capitulation move. Why is it so hard to trade the LME? It's just a nightmare. That is a very locked, close group. Yeah, that's why I had to look around for a couple different things. The LME futures is what I was watching on my other trading platform for nickel. I just can't get it in TradingView. That's why I had to poke around for a couple different ones. But LME is just such a tight knit group, and there actually aren't a lot besides of big hedge funds and everything else and big metal traders that deal with the LME. I know. Oh, well, thank you, Sashi. I did not show up, but thank you for that super chat. I really appreciate it, Sashi. I'm not going to ignore that just because it didn't show up. You said you sent it. I trust you. Thank you for the super chat. Let's see. Weekly close below 41.99 marked the completion of a large head and shoulders top signal. Important change of trend lower. Are you talking the S&P? Because I'm treating that with a flat neckline. Even though it's a slightly descending neckline, that's why I have these longer term targets on there. I had to treat with a flat neckline, which we are not. Hold on. No, we are below that on a daily basis, but I'm watching for the weekly close below 42.54. I can't use the targets because they're not as reliable on declining necklines. And why would this be a declining neckline? Because here's the inside of the right hand shoulder. Here is the left hand shoulder outside. Just giving a little teaching moment here. We've done a lot of testing with this declining neckline. So actually, I thought I had my neckline on there. I probably erased it. That's one of the levels I erased. I was treating this with a flat neckline. So that was 42.24. Sorry, 42.24. We're now below it on the daily basis. I'm watching for a weekly close below that. And then you see even with the harmonic, my next major target based off of that is 39.77. Was not ignoring your comments, Rich. I would expect a break in due course with the next meaningful support seeing at 38.2% retracement of the entire 2021 bull market at 38.55. 38.55. And where would be because I don't use, this is where I've done a ton of testing between the 38.2s. 37.5s test out way better than the 38.2s. I know there's a ton of fib fans, but my 37.5 is right around 38.14. So 38.14 to 38.38, you have that head and shoulders target. Then you have that. So that would be my next target. And then below that, we have 3,700 significant level and the final target there. And then longer term, I'm still thinking we can easily retrace 50% of this move. Longer term, I'm talking over months. And that's 34.91 area, which is right with this breakout path. So there we go. I am out. Thanks, Mike. Have a good evening. Thank you, Christoph. Everybody, is there anything else I'm going to look at? By the way, mega caps. Let's check that custom mega cap index. Again, coming back to the most recent lows. Triple bottom too, so mega caps on this favor a continuation lower. I have to technically update my harmonic, which I did not do. Sorry about that. And remember in the ratios, sorry, dog barking, ratios, which I went over in the sector video this weekend. I think I went over it yesterday too. We triggered on a weekly basis the mega cap index lower. I am watching for longer term mega caps to continue to unwind. All right, Facebook. I should look at some of these in the stocks. I'll save them for the stock segment, but Facebook just getting hammered. Amazon, I know I got a question to ask this morning. Breaking down again. I'm watching for this 2,700. If that 2,700 goes into this clear path move, 25.75, 24.43. We'll take a look at some more stocks in the stock segment coming up. Again, thank you for all the comments and all the feedback. Everybody, if you're new here, please do consider subscribing, ringing that bell, and hitting that like button. Longer term viewers, thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the donations. And please do like the videos and leave some comments. I will be back on in about, well, the countdown timer starts in about 13 minutes, and the whole thing will start in about 18 minutes. I'll talk to everyone then. Bye for now. Rich, come back to the stock segment, and we'll take a look at pound US dollar. Okay, Rich?